What is up, y'all? Your boy Josh Crawford of No Cap Sports, if you know what I'm saying. Obviously, it's March. March is my favorite time of the year. I love basketball. I'm really a basketball guy myself. If you've been watching the show, you've seen, recently I've been having a trend of game balls dedicated towards college basketball. And, my thing, the NCAA Tournament is probably the most singularly exciting sports event. Just the upsets, the people that come from it. I just love all the type of stuff like this. So, for me, because I know a lot of y'all, including some of my co-hosts, haven't been up on your college basketball, tracking throughout the season, which is fine. Understand everybody not as dedicated as your man's right here. So, in lieu of you having watched about 2-3 months worth of college basketball, I will be giving you 10 things you need to know for this March Madness. The first thing you need to know for this March Madness, obviously Ja Morant has been taking the NBA world by storm, producing a crazy highlight every night. One of the front runners for the MVP conversation. Got the Grizzlies as the second best record in the league. Purdue has the next version of Ja Morant and Jaden Ivey. Jaden Ivey, 6'4", about, I say like 190, 195, 200. He's a little bigger than Ja. Has his breakout sophomore year. I think a 10-point per game jump. Huge jump in his 3-point percentage from 29% to 46%. So that's literally liability to one of the best shooters in the country right now. So man, you look at this guy, he's he looks like Ja. He's dynamic in transition, super quick in the open court. Highlight reel. Quickly attacks getting downhill. And he's actually a pretty good playmaker as well. He didn't. I don't think he was a natural point guard to start off with because like I said, he is about 6'4", so he has played off the ball. But he's just quickly becoming accustomed to making the right decision, whether it be taking the shot for him, like I said, calling his own number, or sending one of his teammates, whether it be Stanufovic, one of the shooters for Purdue, Zach Edey, their 7'3" big man, or Trevion Williams, one of the best 6 men in the country who was an all-conference guy last year. So not gonna say a stat comparison for the two, Ja in his second year at Murray State, 24.5 points, 5.7 rebounds, 10 assists. Didn't know he was that good of a playmaker. 55% from the field, 36% from three, and 81% from the free throw line. Versus Jaden Ivey, 17 points a game, 4.7 rebounds, 3 assists, 46% from the field, 37% from three, and 73% at the line. So obviously, I made a mistake earlier about my calculation in terms of his 3-point percentage, but he's still a very significant jump. It's still a jump from liability to plus shooter. So obviously Jaden Ivey's stats aren't as good as Ja's, but I think Jaden Ivey's on a better team. He doesn't have the ball in his hand as much. He has better pieces around him, so he doesn't have to do as much for Purdue as Ja Morant had to do for that Murray State team. But yeah, man, we'll get into it a little later. But he, after a year like this, played on the FIBA USA team last summer, got a gold medal. Him and Johnny Davis were kind of the breakout stars of that team. He's in the competition with a top 5 pick, even the number 1 overall selection. So, you don't think about Purdue as, well, actually you do, but you don't think about Purdue as producing high-end NBA level talent. But they got a good one this year. Jaden Ivey, watch out for him, folks. Number 2, in a sport where usually there's a singularly dominant force. Think about Karl Anthony Towns Kentucky team. You think about old Indiana teams. There was clearly a best cut team in the field. Gonzaga last year. This year, not like this. I'm talking about last week, something historic happened in terms of the amount of losses by top 10 teams in the AP poll. Say that 5 times fast. Seven out of the top 10 teams lose. First time ever in AP history. Had number 1 Gonzaga lose on the road to number 23 St. Mary's. Number 2 lost to Colorado. Number 2 Arizona lost to Colorado. Number 3 Auburn lost at Tennessee in Knoxville. Number 4 lost Purdue lost at Michigan State. Number 5 Kansas lost at Baylor in Waco. Kentucky lost to Arkansas. Great performance by JT Notte on that day. Watched that game, most entertaining game of the day. And number 9 Texas Tech lost to TCU, and Mike Miles, one of the better and more underrated guards in the country. So yeah, man, a lot of people talk about the amount of parity we have in college basketball, and that is true. You'll see it in my list, but there's legitimately, for me, 6 to 8 teams that could end up being a national champion, and then I would probably say at least 10 to 15 that could end up in the Final Four. So this is as wide open as a race we've had in college basketball in a long time, and it's exciting, man. Guys coming from different places, non-traditional power programs, and I'm ready to see who ends up the champion. Number 3, the big guys are back in style. As somebody that is a bigger specimen myself, I play D-tackle, obviously I am. I've always appreciated, the art in, a big man's post game. Footwork, hands, ability to rebound and protect the rim, and anything else you add on extra on this a little side. So obviously there's been a revelation in the NBA talking about your 3 MVP candidates, talking about Jokic, Embiid, and Giannis. Bigs are back in style, man. Even in college basketball, like I mentioned, Zach Edey earlier, 7'3" guy at Purdue. A lot of people thought that Travion Williams, a guy that was a really talented starter last year from Purdue, was going to kind of step in and be that 1-2 to Jaden Ivey. But it's been Zach Edey, 7'3", decent hands, decent, footwork. He has a couple post-up moves. He can maneuver in the post a little bit. Yeah, man, I think that, I don't know how much he'll succeed in the NBA, honestly, kind of like a Taco Fall. But you never know. You never know. And, the production is there, honestly. Kofi Cockburn, another guy, honestly, I don't know if we thought he was going to be in college this long. Well, I guess we did because, his game doesn't really translate to the NBA level either. But he's super excited to watch. First AP All-American last year with him and Ayo Dosunmu, led Illinois to a number 1 seed. And it just physically dominant in a very physical conference, talking about the Big Ten. So, Kobe Cockburn, Illinois, just had a heartbreaking loss to Indiana. Probably got Indiana in the tournament. But yeah, Kobe Cockburn, another big, dominant big man. My favorite name, Oscar Tshiebwe. I think, by the end of the day, he'll be the National Player of the Year. Basically throwing up like 20 and 15 for Kentucky right now, putting them back in the national championship conversation for the first time. Again, another guy that doesn't have the most translatable NBA skill set, but, rebounding does translate. The ability to attack the glass and the timing and be physical, that translates. So I think at worst, Oscar Tshiebwe could be Kenneth Faried in the league. Obviously, I'll talk about it a little later. You got your big name guys, talking about Chet Holmgren, Jabari Smith, obviously 2 top-end talents. Guy in Arizona right now, Christian Koloko. One of the biggest reasons him and Benedict Mathurin are, Arizona. One of the biggest reasons Arizona is top 2 team in the country. Tari Eason, I think he's 4th in the SEC in scoring right now. Saw him, as a Memphis fan, seeing him at Cincinnati in the American. Did not see what he does right now, obviously, but he comes off the bench for LSU still, which is kind of weird. But that guy looks like a modern NBA 4. Rim protection, switchability, 6'8", 6'9", shot creation, a lot of good things for Tari Eason. He's starting to climb up into that lottery discussion. He's been, he kind of put LSU on his back, got him a top 4 seed in the SEC tournament, and they'll probably end up, I think they were ranked, so I think they'll probably end up with like a 4 or 5 seed tournament. EJ Liddell, I think he was on his Wooden Award semifinalist list. Only really thing consistent for Ohio State this year. Him and they got a freshman guard that's really been nice too, but big shot maker, not the most athletic guy. Likes to operate in the mid range and the pinch post area. Adrian Dantley vibes for sure. Like him, another guy that may not translate the best to the NBA, but he has a very unique game and it's fun to watch. Armando Bacot. Somebody that I'm not the biggest fan of, but you can't deny the production. 20 and 10, over 20 doubles, over 20 doubles this season. I think he's like top 5 in Division I, and he's him and Caleb Love. Well, him and Caleb Love have been probably the 2 biggest reasons that they get into the tournament. Talking about not even being biased, but one of the best freshmen in the country, a guy like Jalen Duren, lottery pick. He looks like Bam Adebayo, Dwight Howard, whatever you want to say. Has been dominating down the stretch in the American. And big guy, soft hands, good touch. He's starting to extend his range out to like 15, 20 feet. Elite rim protector. I'm excited for that guy at the next level. NBA GMs are too, so I don't think he falls out of the top 10. Even you got a guy like Keegan Murray, who, I waited this long to talk about him, but he leads the nation. I think him or Ochai Job, he leads the nation in scoring. 6'8", 6'9", great shooter, can put the ball on the deck, good rebounder. And yeah, so I'm saying, all these guys that I'm naming, I didn't even get to guys like Jeremy Sochan. You feel what I'm saying? Like, he's big, whatever, but he is 6'8", so it's like, kind of a big. But yeah, man, if you need a big in this year's draft as your NBA team, this is the year to get one. Number 4 is return of the Blue Bloods. Talking about a UNC who didn't have the best track record of success coming to this season. Really didn't have that good of a resume even a month ago. But they got hot down the stretch. Armando Baycott really started playing well. Kevin Love started playing a little bit better. And they beat Duke. So, yeah, they're like second in ACC right now. But you're talking about, like I said, UNC, mainly the two big ones, Duke and Kentucky. First time that either one of them have been to the tournament since 2019, which is crazy. In 2019, the last 2 times that Kentucky's been a number 2 seed in the tournament, which it looks like they end up being, they're right on the 1-2 seed line. They went to the Elite 8. So that's that's pretty achievable goal for them. Talking about, like I said, Sheway, Ty Washington, Severe Wheeler, Keelan Grady. They look like they a deep team, experienced team, which is weird to say for a Coach Calipari team. And they got all the pieces to make not only the Elite Eight, but make a national championship bid. For Duke, like I said, this is the first time in the tournament since 2019 too. And the last 2 times they went to the tournament, they were in the Elite Eight as well. So you got the traditional blue blood programs getting back into the tournament. Obviously, COVID part of the 2020 tournament, but even before that, they were in a little bit of a slump. So I was glad to see these recognizable programs back where they're supposed to be. National championship contention, top 5, top 10 teams. Number 5 is Coach K's last year. Mike Krzyzewski has been the face of college basketball probably for at least 20 years now. He's the most winningest coach in NCAA basketball history. His accolades are impeccable. I don't need to go through all of them. You know who Mike Krzyzewski is. Let me just give you a quick rundown. Just a quick cursory rundown. It's just some of the talent that Coach K has had through his program. Like a little quick top 5. Number 1, Grant Hill, great collegiate star, projected to be one of the greatest NBA players ever. Injuries slowed him down, obviously. Kyrie Irving, Finals MVP, Kyrie Irving, NBA champion, Kyrie Irving, Elite 8 NCAA participant, Kyrie Irving. Other superlatives that I have in mind, I won't get into them right now, but still, one of the you can't debate it. One of the top 5 or 10 best scorers ever seen in NBA history. Zion Williamson, National Player of the Year, number 1 overall pick, NBA All-Star starter already. Not looking too good for Zion right now. Kind of been a little bit of a tumultuous patch. I'll say it like that. But no, I've been much maligned for my opinion as well on this issue. But I just think there's too much talent right there. Honestly, we never really seen a guy with that combination of power, speed, and athleticism. So I think he'll work it out. But still, number 5, you got anybody you can pick. Brandon Ingram, NBA All-Star already. 22 a night. Right, don't mark it down. Elton Brand, multiple time NBA All-Star. People forget about him. Kind of a joke now as a Clippers GM, NBA All-Star. Carlos Boozer. People forget. Great guy with a Derrick Williams in Utah. A little less of a great guy in Chicago beside Derrick Rose. Still, NBA All-Star. Corey Maggette, NBA All-Star. No, I don't think Corey Maggette made an NBA All-Star team, but still, 15 to 17 point a night scoring in the NBA. So these are just a couple of guys they get in the Duke program. So everybody's wondering, obviously Paolo Banchero, a guy that has a chance to crack this list 5 to 10 years from now. But everybody just wants to know, what will Coach K's last game looked like. Number 6, for the first time in a couple of drafts, there's no consensus number 1 overall pick. You got a guy at Jalen Ivey. I talked about him a little bit earlier. Got a guy at Chet Holmgren playing at Gonzaga. Everybody liked the unicorn term, kind of fits him pretty snugly. 7'2", 7'3", but not super timid. Not like a lot of tall guys. Not super timid. He's got a nice little edge or whatever you want to call it to him. Obviously, elite rim protector, very mobile. I think that the thing that excites a lot of people, talking about the ability to put the ball on the floor and shoot at 7'2", 7'3". Pretty exciting. I say he probably is the best long-term prospect. But I've just seen too many games here in this college season where he's throwing up clunkers. I think when the Gonzaga Duke game, Paolo Banchero decidedly won that matchup. So, he wouldn't be my first pick off the board. But if a team drafts him, I'm not going to doubt it, honestly. Jabari Smith, 6'9", 6'10", prototypical modern NBA 4. Talking about a guy that's going to shoot over 40% from 3, going to protect the rim, going to rebound. Not having shown the most shot creation ability, but it doesn't look really lost out there. Him and Walker Kessler are 2 lottery picks. And I think they will probably be the favorites to win the they'll end up with a national championship this year if they hadn't had 2 little guards, Wendell Green and Katie Johnson, constantly getting in the way. And then, like I said, Paulo Banchero, he looks like the evolution of the 2022 version of Carmelo Anthony. He's a little bigger, 6'10", 6'11", but the exact same game. Very similar game, actually, to another guy that could have been a part of this list. I'm talking about Jabari Parker. Operates as a primary facilitator. Gets any shot he wants. Talking about a mid-range pull-up, a 3, pinch post, in the low post, duck in, thing like that. Complete scorer. Comes in, NBA-ready body, 6'10", 250. He's a guy that you can kind of plug and play right away. Don't know about him defensively. Doesn't really offer rim protection, and is not the most mobile guy. So kind of that's a decision. But if you need scoring right away, Paulo Banchero is your guy. So you got different teams with different needs at the top of the draft. We don't even know who's gonna have the first pick yet, but there's a bevy of good options. Number 7, the big 3. For me, I'm talking about the big 3 is the big 3 conferences this year that have kind of been dominating college basketball. There's going to be one kind of glaring omission, but whatever. I don't really care that much. This is my list, and I don't really see a national championship emerging from one that conference. We're talking about the Big 10, the Big 12, and SEC. They got 13 of the top 25 net teams right now. I think it's undoubtedly that's the 3 best conferences in college basketball. Talking about Baylor, Kansas, Kentucky, Arkansas, Purdue, Illinois, Wisconsin. I think that your Texas Tech, Baylor, Texas. I think your champion emerges from one of those 3 conferences. I don't know if it's obvious or not, but I think a lot of people will have be like, oh, where's the Big East at? The Big East does have 7 ranked teams, but I'm sorry, I don't see a Big East contender. I don't see any team from the Big East making a really big run. The best team they got in their league right now is Providence, and Creighton just gave them a really good smackdown in the conference tournament. So like I said, Providence, UConn, Creighton, like none of those teams, Villanova, none of those teams really excite me, honestly. But yeah, that's what I'm saying, man. So yeah, one of your champion will emerge from one of those 3 conferences, and it's a shift. It's a shift, man. The SEC, known as a football conference, the Big East, known as probably the most traditional power basketball conference, at least tradition-wise. But times are changing now, man. Times are changing, and really, there's no really set specific place to where the best basketball players go to. It's just around the country. Number 8 is Cinderella teams. Obviously, one of the biggest
storylines from March Madness. I think everybody remembers the Florida Ghost team, Dunk City, 15 seed, making to the Sweet 16. One of the better stories and one of the better sports stories in recent memory. So obviously, I think everybody's trying to replicate that, but still, there's upsets are gonna happen, but there's nothing like seeing a small, scrappy school beat them on the good traditional program. So, and then obviously, it's usually like a little guard or something that goes crazy, shoots abnormally well, and gets him a little article. It's a fun experience. So this year, the Cinderella team to watch out for are Murray State. I don't know if you call them a Cinderella still. They can be dominating the OVC. Beat up on Memphis pretty good early in the season. They've been ranked, or at least hovering around number 25 spot for at least 2-3 weeks now. And Loyola Chicago, again another team. I hesitate to call a Cinderella just because of their previous tournament success, but still a smaller program. They'll probably come into this year with like a 8 or 9 or 10 seed, and they'll beat somebody they're not supposed to beat. So it's always cool. San Francisco. I think they're 4th in the WCC right now, right behind Gonzaga. 3rd, I think, right behind Gonzaga and St. Mary's. Net top 30. I'm not gonna lie to you and say that I've watched any San Francisco games, but doing your research, analyzing records, they kind of in the sense they're just one tier below Murray State in terms of a team that's kind of hovering around that 25 spot. They're like 30 on the net. So yeah, obviously St. Mary's just beat Gonzaga, so we see the West Coast Conference is not just a one big league anymore. St. Mary's, just talked about them. Tommy Kuzi, one of the better point guards in the country. They got a good team. They're ranked as well. Again, another team I really hesitate to call kind of a Cinderella, but they'll probably end up with like a 6 or a 7, 5, 6, 7. A lot of people are gonna pick them to be upset because they're not gonna be a P5 program, but I think this is a really good team. Boise State, another team out of the Mountain West Conference. They haven't been ranked all year, but really it's like low key. Mountain West Conference turned into a pretty good basketball conference. Talking about, like I said, Boise State, San Diego State is usually good every year. Boise State, they've been consistently at the top of the Mountain West Conference for a couple years now. They've been on that bubble almost every year, honestly. And I think this may be the year to break through. And, you never know what happens. Colorado State, again, another Mountain West team. They got one of the better individual guys in the country. Blanking on his name right now, but I think he was named Mountain West Player of the Year. And then, we know in the NCAA Tournament, individual star power always overrules, team play. So you got a really talented guy that can get hot. You never know what can happen. So just some of those teams I've talked about, look out for them. Look out for them.
Number 9, who will be your breakout star? Obviously, the NCAA Tournament is about small guards shooting abnormally well, generating a bunch of headlines, getting an article write-up, and then become the national flavor of the week. It's a good little process. Everything is pretty cool. So, there's a couple candidates, in this year's tournament that I think have been performing pretty well this season that, could get a lot of buzz coming up in March. Talking about a guy like Tim Brown from Murray State, probably the biggest reason why they're ranked. Marcus Carr for Texas has been really struggling since coming to Texas from Minnesota, but and he's not one of these guys. He was probably the top available guy in the transfer portal. He's not a guy, like I said, coming from Minnesota. He's not a guy that's coming from another level to Texas. He could really take any shot he wanted to in Minnesota last year, and it's not like that anymore. But he's still a guy that you have to watch. He can get hot quickly. RJ Cole for UConn. UConn actually is ranked this year. One of the biggest teams, one of the best teams in the Big East. He's one of the biggest reasons why. Hasn't been that much national coverage, but I think he made first team all Big East. And again, like I said, UConn, if they could make a deep tournament run, he'll be a big reason why. Mike Miles that I mentioned earlier. Don't know if TCU makes the tournament. Obviously, I think they're playing today. They can obviously get the automatic bid because I think they're already in the semifinals by beating Texas. But Mike Miles, another smaller guy that can get any shot he wants anytime, and really could do some damage in the NCAA in March Madness if TCU can get in. Caleb Love, highly recruited guy out of UNC, hasn't probably put it up to the level of expectations, honestly. But again, very talented guy. Has shown those flashes, and is able to, like most of these guys, is able to get to any spot on the court he wants to anytime. Number 10, like I said, this is one of the most wide open NCAA Final Four races or potential championship races that we've seen in a long time. But I'm calling my shot, man. I gotta call my shot. We're not in this business for nothing. So a lot of teams, but hey, parity, brother, work with me. Your NCAA champion this year will be either Gonzaga, Duke, Kentucky, Arizona, Baylor, Auburn, Purdue, or Memphis. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 teams. Like I said, very wide open. Obviously, Memphis sticks out, obviously, but really been on a tear recently. Preseason top 10 team, high level talent, at least NBA wise. Talking about Jalen Duren. I think all 8 of these teams have that combination of high level talent, experience, and then they have put up a pretty good track record in the regular season to think why they could be hoisting up the trophy at the end of the season. So that's the 10 things you need to know for March Madness. Your boy Josh Crawford here, setting you up with the info so you won't be here lost, filling out your bracket or nothing stupid like that. So yeah, man, No Cap Sports, check us out, dog.